I'm now paddling into the mouth of Constance Creek, which flows into Constance Bay. Constance Creek flows northward from Constance Lake into the bay, but when back 8,000–10,000 years ago, when the Ottawa River was still carrying all of those enormous post-glacial flows, it actually flowed in the other direction. It takes up a small part of an ancient flow channel of the Ottawa River that runs here from Constance Bay southward to Shirley's Bay, right at the north edge of Ottawa's urban area. And this corridor, this landscape linkage that is defined by Constance Creek and Shirley's Bay is one of the most biologically rich areas of Ottawa, an absolute treasure. It's about 8 a.m. on a June morning, and I am paddling through the Constance Creek silver maple swamp. Swamps are the third type of wetland that we find in the Ottawa Valley. This is one of the more spectacular examples. Swamps can range in type, anything from a low thicket swamp that is too dense to walk through to these magnificent cathedral silver maple swamps. My name is Nick Stow. I'm an ecologist, and this is the ecology of the Ottawa Valley. Swamps are one of the most productive places on Earth, and that's because they're a combination of the factors that lead to enormous productivity. First, we have an abundance of water, but the water level through much of the year is low enough that it does not actually deprive the trees of oxygen to their roots, so they can continue to grow throughout most of the year. We have soil conditions that retain nutrients so that we get a very efficient recycling of nutrients in these systems, plus whatever nutrients happen to be in the water that floods back into these swamps. So they're enormously productive, and consequently they're also enormously diverse, and like this one, often rich in species at risk. It's a home for map turtle, for Blanding's turtle. At the mouth of the creek we get sturgeon. There are mussels and clams in here, some of which may include species at risk, but those tend to be a little further out past the mouth of the creek. We get red-headed woodpecker in this forest. All of these are threatened or endangered species in Canada. And this whole habitat itself is basically a threatened habitat. At least this type of swamp is. Swamps are the most common type of wetland in the Ottawa region and probably throughout the Ottawa Valley. But this type of mature silver maple swamp is extremely rare in Canada. A little more common around the Ottawa River and the St. Lawrence River, but always under pressure. And in fact, this particular swamp is almost always under threat of aggregate extraction because it is based on sandy soils, one of the biggest deposits of sandy soils in the Ottawa region. And sandy soils, sand is an important aggregate resource for construction. Basically, any type of construction requires enormous amounts of aggregates. And as aggregate resources are gradually depleted, the pressure to come in and extract the sand that underlies this magnificent forest increases. At some point, a decision has to be made about which is more important in the long term. The aggregate resource, the sand deposits here, or this spectacular silver maple forest. I'll give you my bias. Aggregates can be recycled. Once this is gone, it's never coming back. I hope you've enjoyed this video. In my next video, I'll be talking about the third type of wetland in the Ottawa area, which are fens, and followed then by a discussion of bogs, fens and bogs being the two types of peatlands that we encounter. Thank you.